69 and I left my husband 7 years ago. I was fed up with being part of the furniture. I wanted to have a proper life again.
Getting divorced at 60 is usually not that common in society, but today we look at various situations where elderly couples decided to call it quits after nearly 40 years of marriage. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it.
How did I know it was time to get a divorce? I had been thinking about divorce for years before I finally made the move. And the move happened for me in one night. And here's how I knew I was ready. I had three oldest kids that were at the time young adults, 20-somethings and a teenager, and then a little guy who was like 4, I think, at the time. And the older two didn't live with us anymore, but this one night they were all over for dinner. And so we had dinner. I fed my kid, the littlest one, and he threw up all over everything. I mean, like head to toe throw up. He's in a wheelchair covered head to toe, floor, like everything. Like it was everywhere. And it occurred to me that I would have to give him a bath, and it was already super late at night, and I had forgotten that the bathtub was clogged. And I had asked my husband if he could unclog the bathtub. And he said that he would, but it was only clogged like a day or two. And it was one of his jobs. His job was to fix the things inside the house and to do some of the yard work outside of the house. And then all of the rest of it was me.
Do you think marriage should have fixed roles, like the husband handling repairs and the wife managing the home? Or should both partners just share responsibilities however they can? Let me know in the comments.
But that's a story for another time. So when I remembered that the bathtub was a little bit clogged, I turned and I said to him, I need to give the kid a bath, but the bathtub is clogged. Could you like go up and do something to get it unclogged so that I can fill up the tub and give him a bath? And he said to me, oh, you don't want to give him a bath tonight. It's too cold. He'll get a chill.
That right there is a red flag because it shows the husband is lazy and clearly does not care for that child. You would rather let your child sleep covered in vomit rather than unclog the bathtub as crazy work.
And I said to him, I don't have the energy for your bullshit tonight. And he looked at me, and all of my kids were looking at me, and he said, straight as he could be, fuck you.
At that point, you just know it is over. That man really has issues, insulting your wife in front of the kids. And the crazy thing is that it originated from your youngest child vomiting and you not unclogging the bathtub.
And I knew in that moment that all of my kids were watching me. And I basically had two choices at that point. I could either have a reaction to what he said to me, in which case I would look like the crazy person, or I could have no reaction, which would teach my kids that I was okay being treated like that.
In such situations, you should stand up for yourself and let your partner know that you cannot be treated anyhow he sees fit. Disrespect should be addressed immediately, or it will become a norm in your house.
And in that moment, I realized that they were raised like this. That they had been raised and had been watching for their whole entire lives of their dad treating me like this. So I said, fine, whatever. I gave the kid a bath, even with a little bit clogged up. I just went ahead and filled the bathtub. I gave him a bath. And then this is the really important part. I sat down in a rocking chair with him and I rocked him to sleep. And I was in that chair about 2 or 3 hours. And I could physically feel the internal shift happening within me. And that shift was very specifically, I rolled through all the things in my head that I had been saying to myself that I couldn't do this because. And that night, all of those things shifted from I can't do this because to how can I do this?
It is really sad to see a situation where a man is not in his masculine state and taking care of things. Once a lady enters her masculine state and starts thinking of how to improve a situation on her own, that marriage is close to coming to an end.
So I had been putting it off because I didn't want to have to move out of my house. And that night I was like, I do not care. I will live in an apartment. I will live in a studio. I would live in my best friend's basement. I'm just done. Like, I was just done. So the moving wasn't an issue. And then I was working at home as my son's PCA. And I thought to myself, prior to this, I was like, well, I can't leave because then I would have to get a job to support us. And that night it was like, I don't even care. I will get a job so that I can support us. And I did. I had a job within like 2 weeks. Not a problem. Like, everything shifted for me.
This is so common in life when you are afraid to take the next step and you overthink what will come next. It feels impossible to survive in your next phase, but most of the time you will turn out to be just fine.
And all of those things, you know, I can't leave because I don't want the kids to have to go through us divorcing. And that shifted internally to, I cannot stay in this marriage and make my kids have to watch this anymore. That internal shift, it was everything. I could physically feel it in my body. And it took about 2 or 3 hours. And at the end of that night, I knew I was done. I was just done.
In this situation, it is really the dude's fault. She did not deserve to be treated like that. All she really needed was a little support and some love from her husband.
So I spent the next week. I spent a whole entire week before letting him know. And during that week, I applied for new jobs. I started looking for apartments for me to live in. I looked through all our finances. I kind of did a real quick, like, back of the napkin sort of like, can I afford this? Or what do I need to do so that I can afford this? And I got it done. And a week later, he was gone.
After divorce, life feels like you have been set free and you can finally begin to live. On the other hand, some wish it could have happened sooner.
So I'm 55, and I just left my husband of 28 years, and I should have left him 20 years ago. And I'm here to say that the minute you think it's time to leave, leave. Don't let it go 20 years. Don't let it go 20 years. Don't let it go 20 years.
I am curious, what is your thoughts on divorce? Is it a yes or a big no? Talk to us in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys soon. Uncle Vex Auto.